And welcome back to the Primility Primer, your morning reminder and my morning reminder to strive to balance pride and humility as much as we can throughout our days. This is episode 002, and I figured it was only appropriate that we kind of start from the beginning here. If this is the Primility Primer, and the last episode, I explained the purpose behind the series, why I'm getting up early and launching these live every morning. I figure it is also important to define exactly what shit. Okay, so here's the thing with doing a live show. This is kind of interesting, is that I didn't start my GarageBand recording. So let's do that right now, and then I'll kind of restart this. The benefit of doing this without a live audience yet, because I don't think anybody's actually watching. All right. Let's just try this again, shall we? And welcome back to the Primility Primer, your daily morning reminder and my daily morning reminder to strive to balance pride and humility as much as we can throughout our days in everything that we do. This is episode 002. And for this episode, I figured we should kind of start from the beginning. Episode 001, I explained to you why I'm doing this series, what the point is, what the purpose is. And I figure we shouldn't get too far down the road before I actually define what primility is, what it does, what it means to me, and what I hope that perhaps it can someday mean to you as well. And it's interesting. This is a concept that's been so important to me really since about 2005, when that's really when I kind of created the word, but it's something I had thought about and tried to practice before then. But I haven't always been great at explaining it to other people. And sometimes it will really tongue tie me. And I'm not quite sure why, because I really understand it internally, but I struggle to articulate that to others sometimes. And I may be being self critical. There are probably some times when I've done it well, but there are some times when I know that I felt extremely uncomfortable, self-conscious about the explanation that I'm giving. But I want to give one anyway, because I want you to understand what this concept is and what it's supposed to do. And you can see, if you're watching on the video, you can see the poster that is above my left shoulder, Primility, and it has the original tagline on there, which basically is about achieving anything you love and are capable of through balancing pride and humility. And that is certainly a big part of it. But I think, anyway, I jotted down some notes. And this to me is what primility is, what it means. So it's an ideal mindset in which pride and humility are in balance. Sustaining primility in all areas of life is impossible, but that is okay because you derive the benefits of primility through the process of striving to achieve it. Ultimately, primility helps you to achieve anything you love and are capable of by enhancing your self-awareness, which is the key to self-determination. And if you go to the site now, you see that ending is the kind of the simple, quick tagline: self-awareness for self-determination. But it's the balancing of pride and humility throughout our daily lives and the different things we do and the different thoughts we think that allows us to hopefully arrive at a level of self-awareness where we can self-determine. Because what that means is for us to truly be in control of our futures and what's happening to us and how we're impacting the world and how we're impacting other people, we have to be able to make positive choices to move us forward. And I think that requires self-awareness, because if our pride and humility are out of balance, then we're not going to be making those good choices. And that's why it's an ideal mindset. And it's not something where you've achieved primility and your pride and your humility are constantly in balance. So you're never overestimating your own abilities. You're never thinking too much about yourself. But on the other hand, you're not being so meek that you're underestimating what you can do and thinking so much about other people that you don't take care of yourself, right? Because these are the problems with being on one extreme or the other. So, for instance, just for this episode, it was an act of humility for me to sit down and jot down notes beforehand, because I know sometimes when I get into this explanation that something that makes sense to me, it doesn't come out great when I'm speaking it, because I've had it happen before. Well, the prideful part of me thinks, look, I've been thinking about this, talking about this for almost 10 years now. I can sit down and I can explain this in a good way. But the humility, the balance to that is realizing that I want to give you as good an explanation as possible, understanding that it's not something that I'm always great at, that I've struggled at it before. Let's sit down, let's prepare, let's put in a little bit of time to make this as good as possible. Now, have I achieved? I don't know. This explanation hasn't been perfect. It's been a little bit jumbled, but I'm just giving you an example of how, even on a micro scale, just on this one little thing that I'm doing today, looking at it through this lens of pride or humility. Am I out of balance? In what direction am I out of balance? And what do I need to do to pull myself back in that direction? That's why I wear the red wristband, as you can see here on the video, that says Primility on it. It's a wristband that I send to people who have subscribed to the email list, because it's just a reminder to me to constantly think of things in these terms. But I want to stress the first part of that description that I talked about earlier, which is that it's an ideal mindset, and that it's okay to not totally be, or to not feel like you constantly have this balance down, because you won't. It's like the ocean. The waves are constantly flowing, and it'll ebb and flow. And in some areas of your life, you'll feel more naturally humble, and in other areas of life, you'll feel more naturally prideful. But where you really derive the benefits of primality is the process of striving to achieve it. So it's a journey. It's not a destination, right? So this morning, that moment of primality that I had that said, hey, don't just hit the start broadcast button. Take 10 minutes, understand that you haven't been good at this before, jot down some notes, make this as good an experience for the group as you can. That ability to do that for that moment put that part of me in balance. It helped me to balance it. Now, obviously, the more that you do that in the more different areas of your life, the more different elements of your day, then the more you're going to be balanced overall, which is the key, because the more that we can act and think and do with this primility mindset, with our pride and our humility balance, so that one isn't overtaking the other, the better off that we'll be, the better decisions that we'll make, the better that we will impact other people. I hope right now that this explanation is impacting you in a positive way. I think the fact that I'm here explaining it is certainly a sign of pride. It's pride in the idea, pride in my ability to have a positive impact by sharing this experience, this thought, and hopefully combining that with the humility of really spending time thinking about how to actually explain it, what words to use, how to structure the explanation. Hopefully that is helping to improve the explanation, improve it for you. That's the humility part, and that's where the balance comes in. So, and then of course, again, the ultimate goal then is to help you achieve, as I said before, anything you love and are capable of. So just because you balance your pride and humility doesn't mean that you can play in the NFL, right? It doesn't mean that you can be a Grammy award-winning singer. Like, there's some things that each of us are not capable of. But when we find that intersection of what we're passionate about, what we love, and then what we're actually capable of based on our physical, our mental, our emotional abilities and strengths, then we've got that sweet spot, that intersection. And now when we have our pride and our humility in balance, now we have the self-awareness to where we can self-determine and chart our own course and make sure that we are achieving what we want, that we are living our daily lives how we want, and that we are impacting the other people in our lives how we want. Thank you very much for watching and or listening to this episode of the Primility Primer. I believe 6:30 a.m. is going to be the sweet spot, so that's when I will start launching these. I figured it's a nice little balance between 6 and 7, which were the two times I was thinking. And the show is about balance, so I figured that was appropriate. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I will talk to you next time on episode 3 of the Primility Primer.